Welcome back, y'all, to That's What I'm Saying, the podcast about hip hop, entertainment, dating, relationships, sex, and social issues from a sometimes ratchet but mostly woke perspective. Because, as my sister always says, you know how me and my sister do.
Exactly.
Yes, you can subscribe to That's What I'm Saying. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also watch That's What I'm Saying, the TV show, weekdays on Island TV or on Island TV app. Follow us on Instagram at TwistPod. So I'm Shaun. Psych. Gotcha. I'm Shatara.
And I'm Shaun.
There you go. See, red like
You know
one, two,
you
three.
want to be like me. I knew it.
No, not really.
Okay.
No, but
That's cute.
gotcha. That was a red light, green light, one,
Read
two,
what's
three
on the
on your
paper,
ass.
though. That's what that shows. You going to read what's on the paper.
My mother did this to us. Our names sound so much alike. That SHA.
Shush. Mm-hmm.
So we have a special guest today, but before I get to that,
are we by the way? Can I say that?
What's up?
You look lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm out here on my couch.
I see it.
Hello. I'm home and the sun is out. It's not Florida weather.
But we already know. You see that glistening right here, right?
Listen, I'm happy to see the people.
You hear that, right? You see it, right?
Yo, we had 64 degrees last night.
That's why you said my name. Go ahead.
64 degrees last night. It is 86 degrees right now. Do you hear this?
Yeah, because your weather's is bipolar, just like everybody lives
Very much. Very much. You see, our guest is here in a hoodie, so you already know. So let me just introduce the man of the hour. We have a special guest, funny man Jon Laster. I've been knowing comedian Jon Laster for very, very, very long time. So I must say, this is our resident host of the world famous New York City Comedy Cellar.
Got it.
Tech founder. Did you hear me? Comedian turned tech founder.
I know that's right.
We got a lot of big ups going on up in Chim.
When do you ever hear somebody that's a comedian and a tech founder, a founder of a tech company? How does that even happen?
We gonna get to that?
Mm-hmm.
Can we get to that? Hey, John. Welcome, John.
What's up? Yo, happy to be with y'all.
Thanks for coming out.
You're here. You know, I love a black man. When I tell you,
John, here she go. Oh no, here she go.
I know, you know, I get that chill. Like I love black men. Yeah, we got some, but I just love black men. So I love that you're here.
We love you too, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming out. So we usually name our episode according to like what we're talking about, what's going on. We don't have a name for this episode, so we just gonna say, can we just say it's about Jon Laster? That's what we'll name this episode.
Absolutely, it is about him.
All right, it is. So
about you. Let me stop. Go ahead.
Let's get to the ratchet, shall we? So
that's where we at.
This is my time to shine. There's a lot going on in the news today, and I feel like there's this one topic that we can go on and on about. Diddy.
Of course.
Yeah.
What is going on with Diddy? So, so much is coming out with this case. They're having so many different people come in and testify. His assistant is testifying. We already know Cassie gave her case, and she spoke out, and we just heard some disgusting details. It just went to the next level. Now his mother is
a lot of freak leaks.
His mother's putting semen in the macaroni and cheese, honey. Not the macaroni and cheese.
Wait, was that something that
and made them eat it at the dinner table with tap water? Cassie took it to the next level. Yeah, that was the headline today. And I was like, okay, now this is getting to be a whole nother sick get out. Like this is a whole nother sick situation. His mother is in deep with him too. So just looking at Diddy and everything happening, what y'all got?
Well, I tell you what I'm not going to do tonight. I was actually going to get some macaroni and cheese. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I think I'm going with the collard greens because you just scared me.
Not today.
I was straight up in the order, some catfish, macaroni and cheese. Yes, I'm not doing that now. I'm not doing that now.
Not today.
Is that a real thing? No. Like, is that a real little detail?
That was the headline, and I thought I was bugging. I was on my way out this morning, and I was like, "You got to be lying!" Like, yeah, and made them drink it at the dinner table with tap water. Like, so my thing is, I don't know. Did Cassie come with a semen? Like, here you go. Like, it just sounds like some real sick. cult shit happening over there.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a gentleman and he was saying that there's no way that Cassie's now husband knew about all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And still married her. Because my thing was, it's true. You can turn a hoe into a housewife. A hoe with, she came and said she had mouth sores. She said she was all types of beaten, torn down, physically, everything. And that man, he loved her. He loved her. Okay.
Her new
And
man.
had children.
Yeah.
And he said so when he got on the stand, he was like, I know y'all are judging me, but you got to understand, like, the one thing about her, she's not broken. She's a beautiful mother. He gave such a kissing her wounds testimony where it shut down a lot of people like, wow. What you think about that, John?
Yo, I get it. And I know that you got to say what you got to say when you hit the stand. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you talk to, right?
Uh-huh.
You're not with a virgin. You know what I mean? So whoever you talking to, they have done some freaky, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to hear it like that.
But that kind of pass?
Nigga back like that?
Yeah, I'm not delusional, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want the world, hearing about how my girl was getting grounded. Yeah. Oh man, come on, yo, that you know what I'm saying? Because I know when I hit the stand, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. But when you get home, right, and y'all laying in bed, you're gonna be like, so you
did.
No.
You let him pee? Because that's the part I heard. I was like, pee?
So we pee? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? You something.
Girl.
At least what you're gonna be like, I know we said we wouldn't talk about
it.
But
damn.
I mean, it's because it's all type of questions. I had to stop listening, to be honest with you, because the details just get so crazy and crazy. Like what you just said, I can't believe it. But if somebody actually took the stand, if that was testified to, it's getting crazier and crazier. So my opinion is that I believe that they've already made their case, against him. That whole thing, like it's a very, when we talk about racketeering and you talk about, prostitution and the conspiracy and all that, they've kind of made their case. So this is just stuff for the books. This is something somebody gonna put in a tell-all or a list of all the nasty things you could do.
It's funny that you said that too, because I remember my homie got locked up for robbing banks, right? When we was younger.
Damn.
He used to, I know. And we kept telling him, stop shooting the gun in the bank. Because that's a whole nother charge. Once you unleash a firearm in the vicinity of people, that's enough time in and of itself without the bank robbery.
Right.
The bank robbery, they might go lenient, but once you fire a gun, all bets are off. So we used to say, yo, man, stop firing. Whatever. Long story short, he tells me he's in court with the feds because that's a federal crime once you go into a bank, right? And he said they had so much evidence that he was actually bored watching himself. He said he was sitting in court like, okay, damn, y'all got me.
Y'all okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was like a Gaza situation. Okay, we get it. Enough.
I heard enough about me.
And that's what this to me is like. Oh, now this is just for the Hollywood. This is just for the talk, to get all the little details. Because honestly, they put enough on.
The feds have a 96% conviction rate. So once the feds come and knock on your door, they have waited until they have.
Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes.
Wow.
So to your point, it's just redundant now. It's just like, let's just dump everything that we can find out on the table.
Great.
Y'all wanted to know? Well, here you go. Just put it on like a show.
Yo, if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. Literally.
I mean, this is like, bring your popcorn, sit in the front row, get you a seat. Like I'm going to, where you going? I'm going to the Diddy trial.
Yeah, see, his mother said, take that, give it mac and cheese, take that.
I can't believe what you just said though. Like I can't believe that detail came out. It's getting.
You know what? And you know what's so funny? It's like, I'm laughing because I even joked. I was just like, I would have went to a Diddy party. Like, if you told me I was at a Diddy party and they was like, yo, they're in there fucking in the other room, I probably would have want my cocktail and been like, yo, look, I would have left like, they fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, now that, and the hypocrisy is staggering, right? Because that's the other thing that annoys me. Oh, I can't believe he was having them freak off. And because I say this on stage, I actually say on stage, y'all are lying. Because if you take this trial out and Diddy pull up in a Suburban outside and say, hey, want to come to my party?
Want a
Everybody
party?
like, yo, Diddy invited us to a party.
Absolutely.
You'd have been right up in there.
Absolutely. But I do think, because in Shatara, we talked about this before, that there's levels to the party. So, you may get in because I party like that.
Mhm.
But there was some point in those parties where you might not get invited to the back room or to the other part of the party.
You don't
And
party
that's
that
where,
hard.
I was always invited to the front row to the part.
Yeah.
But that other part that happens on that late night, that whole other piece,
You weren't invited.
nobody
Level 4.
whispered in my ear and said, "Come on back," because
Level 4 unlocked. You weren't.
like
You
she
weren't
ain't
invited.
down, and no, I'm probably not down, and that's
You weren't
the
invited.
part. And I
You were
think there
invited
was
to
a party after the party. What they say after the party is the
Absolutely.
after party. That party
No.
was the
Absolutely.
one.
But I just feel like him partying, like, okay, what's the big deal? Like, there's a lot of it that I'm like, what's the big deal? If you have a female who's consenting to all this crazy, nasty shit, what is the big deal? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't agree with him dragging her across that hotel, floor to the elevator. I don't, that was horrible to see. I don't agree with that. But then it turns out that after all that, she called back and be like, hey, I like that freak off. She was with it. She was still with it. Everybody knew, so many people around them knew, like, yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. And then the kicker was some dude came out and was like, she invited them. She was the one who invited him over for the party. She said her man likes to watch. And he said that Diddy was there with a mask on some Zorro Fiesta sitting there. So, you better. John, it was you. Yo, John, you just came from the trial.
This was not even playing.
Can't be out here mask shaming.
Because this what I'm saying. Like, niggas be on some shit. Like, everybody got that thing, and that's the part. And that's wow. Wow.
John had a mask on tap. John had a mask on tap.
John got invited to the other party, the after party. You know about it. Yo, can you imagine? I'll be like, I don't know what we about to do, but I'm a little afraid of whatever it is.
You gotta stay ready so you ain't gotta get ready. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
What do you play here?
That's why I didn't get invited to the after parties like that. Because I don't, sir, what is that about?
Oh, that is so funny.
Oh,
I didn't expect that, John. John, I didn't expect that.
Surprise.
surprise.
I want to say this about the whole Diddy thing, because I think, we were there as a part that, he's a very large part of our generation. We were there for the music. I still, I still play Diddy regardless of all that is happening now. So yes, we know he's a freak. Yes, we know, and those things, I think nobody can say that that's not true. However, and I think this is where they're not telling that part of it. The legal aspect of it is when you talk about the extortion and the conspiracy, the kidnapping, those things, even the prostitution, but the way that it was done, the drugging. These are the things you can't sidestep. And it seems like they just putting on the prosecution's putting on person after person to tell these tidbits of stories that, cumulative, you could say, oh, that sounds like a criminal act to me. This sounds like a criminal act to me. And to me, if Diddy was not so much of the narcissist that he is, it would be like, you know what? Y'all done built this case against me. Go on ahead and give me that 5 years. I'll be out. I'll be able to see my kids out. I'll be able to move on from this. But I think there's a part of his personality that won't let him do that. That won't let him admit any sort of defeat and wrongdoing. Because I feel like, and then we talked about this, I said, when he had the opportunity to just kind of fall on his own sword and like, you know what? I'm a freak and I didn't hit her and I did these things. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry.
And
I think he would have had a much better chance of getting the sympathy and getting the people's vote than he does now. But he doubled down and was like, I didn't do it. They making up lies. They're doing all of this. And I mean, I mean, we all got eyes. We saw exactly what happened.
We just lies they're telling
And
on me.
I'm like, he had such an opportunity at that point to just kind of, like I said, fall on his own sword and just, we all got a past that we don't want paraded in front of us at these times. Everybody got something. Nobody is perfect. So he just didn't take that opportunity and he chose violence. And this is what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you think about that, John? I want to hear the male's perspective, because a lot of times, and I'm, not to say that this is you, but of course, it's not about bringing a black man down, but it is about balance and justice. So
yeah, I don't think that there's. I mean, at least none of the black men that I hang out with think that anything about what we've seen is going to end in anything but a jail sentence. Because, like you said, we all have a past, and I mean, I've been to rehab 3 times, so I have said things and done suspect things in the past when I was under the influence. But when you see that video, I don't care, man, woman, or child, you watch that video, I mean, that's hard. I'm a grown ass man. It's hard to watch. You know what I mean? And then you find out, oh, there was more stories, women being, punched and kicked, and yeah, at that level, and then or drugs or moving guns and all of that's just a jail sentence. That has nothing to do with bringing down a black man. I do believe though that there are, for us, once we reach a certain level of success, there's going to come something with it. They're going to try to get you in some way, shape, or form if you're running some sort of empire. So I do believe that you're going to be tested, but you got to be careful with what you give them to hang you with.
that's even more so, right? Heavy is the crown. If that is the case, then it means even more so to be on your P's and Q's and be on the straight and narrow, because you've been given a lot. So that is a responsibility to yourself and to others. And unfortunately, they just seem to forget that.
But I mean, when we get into, I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory, but when we get into the trying to drag a black man down, I think oftentimes where does that argument come from? It comes from a place of, and please, I definitely don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm saying about Diddy saying in any way, shape, or form. That's what the courtroom is for, that he's guilty or innocent. But what I will say is this: we have seen white boys get away with murder. You know what I mean? We
Literally.
have a president with 34 felonies that the Supreme Court was able to railroad his trial for him going to court for the
January
documents.
6th. No.
January 6th and the documents, where the courts were able just to. So I think that oftentimes when you do hear intelligible black men saying that happens to us, it's like it comes from more of that place versus defending the indefensible. Because I'm not going to defend none of that
I
shit
get
that
it. I get
I
it.
saw
It's
with my own eyes.
the OJ Simpson. I kind of like liken it to that. Like at that time, there were some of us that were like, well, the glove don't fit, so we must have quit. It wasn't, I get what you're saying. I think it's also that kind of, that we don't snitch, the stop stitching, the stop snitching mentality. So,
And I think snitching. But going back to what we see in the black community versus in the white community, I think all things being equal, people wouldn't mind as much snitching. It's just that damn, you know what I mean? We can't get beat from both sides.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All things being equal, be like, yeah, that nigga did it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But because we get railroaded, because we end up in these court cases, one guy commits some crimes that are I think far worse than what Diddy did. And I'm not saying that what Diddy did is not bad, but they don't affect the whole United States.
right.
Right? And the Supreme Court gets him off. Right? Some white boys go running up, beating on cops, and some cops to death, and they get pardoned. So I think sometimes that's where the energy comes from. Like, really, man? I
Yep.
mean, if you think that a guy like myself, a tech founder with 50,000 Black-owned businesses on the app, you think that they're not going to try me as this thing takes off? You think they're not going to try to dig up something to end this? You know what I mean? If anybody thinks that they're sure that I'm going to survive this, you don't know this country. You really don't. You
And that's a
have
damn shame.
no concept of history about when Black folks start getting their dollars together, when somebody's leading the charge for that. Those are the Black men that die or get hanged. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you
or
know,
get digitally and systemically lynched.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They'll come, they'll come up with something, you know what I'm saying? Hit you with, oh, he said something crazy, or John did something, I don't know. They'll think of something.
So, but then I do believe, like, to what you're saying, there's bear traps. So, not to say you need to be perfect, but you got to be very careful, because it is one of those he who wears the crown. So, because you are Black, there are bigger eyes that are on you. There are bigger snakes. You aren't going to get away with what, white boy Timmy can get away with. We know that already. So, I do believe, like, one person that's been in our I would say in our view for years was Barack Obama. We always knew, like, yo, he has to be perfect, because, oh my God, he
And
can't get away
that
with
wasn't good enough for them.
shit. Oh my God. But you get what I'm saying, though. Like, that was one
Yep.
person who was under so much scrutiny, you know what I'm saying? And we knew, like, yo, we just hope he keeps his nose clean. We so happy he has a Black wife. Like, ooh, we know they don't like that. And I'm so glad he made it out clean. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so glad he made it out clean.
And all his hair didn't turn gray.
But that's why they were like, you know what? Now this is why we of course we want Trump, because we ain't, y'all got somebody Black. Get over it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take any type of white we can get, because we ain't doing Black again. And that's just how, we'll take any white. That's how I'm looking at it.
Black again.
Y'all ain't gonna get Black again. So when you look at, just having to stay clean, I think of another ratchet person right now would be, what do you think of Shannon Sharpe?
So Shannon's situation to me is very similar to what I'm describing about, like, are you going to tell me, is Shannon any different from Ben Roethlisberger?
Now, who's been, that was the football player
who had allegations way worse than what Shannon talked about, and way more. Kept playing, never had no, you know what I mean? Never lost no money, no da-da-da-da-da. So I'm saying that the treatment is different. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into the minutia of whether someone is telling the truth or not, because that's not for me to do. You know what I mean? There's only two people that know that. So I'm not going to get into that. So I wouldn't dare wade into those waters. But it's just like, man, when we and keep in mind that as Shannon becomes what? The biggest podcaster, biggest Black podcaster. And then here comes but extra. He did something to a white girl. You know what I mean? After a while, it's like, hey, come on, people, there's a pattern here. Again, if she has credible evidence or whatever, but I'm just saying that oftentimes when you hear someone say, hey, they trying to take Black men down, it's like, you telling me that none of these white dudes is out here doing anything.
Nothing.
Over and over. Yeah, exactly. Over and over, you find any fault when we reach a certain level. And when was it? And again, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that this girl is lying. I don't know. I legitimately don't know. But I will say this: the case came about when Disney put that $100 million check on the table. So I'm just saying that the altitude that we get to, there's a pattern there.
And there is. But I also feel like, but it should be. There should be some sort of checks and balances when you get to a certain level. So I'm a little like Shannon, like, damn,
yeah, like
damn, like why? And I feel like he had these public warnings, though, because what we saw between Monique. And Cat Williams, because they all had certain knowledge about what was going on, so they warned them. So we saw that.
You need to get older women to get you a baby.
You sure
And
did.
but she said it with love, and this is why I said why we have to not necessarily police ourselves, but this is how we have to check our own selves, because it's not going to come from without; it's going to come from within. So he needed to hear that. Now, did he heed the call? Did he heed the word? No, he didn't, obviously. But obviously, there was already something there that he needed to be checked on, because and both of them explained it in to me very eloquently, like, this is what happens. Cat was like, I'm scared. Like, he's like, and that's not because they don't look good, but they'll ruin your whole life in a weekend, in 2 weekends, over and done. He's not lying. So here we are now. Now we're seeing it. And to your point, Jon, like, yeah, it's funny how all this comes up when he's got $100 million on the table, when things are working out so well. So now they're digging, which we know this is what happens. And you got some proclivities, bruh, that I guess has already been talked about. You already knew, but you didn't check that because, no, there's no disrespect, but men, y'all have another layer of having to not necessarily control, but there are impulses that y'all have that it takes a lot more for you to put those in check. As a man, you have to do that. Women, we don't necessarily. I mean, we got our own thing going on. It's
I gotta do laundry.
When it comes to a man having to check his impulses and do the things that the loyalty, the trust, that stand-up-itness, a lot of brothers don't pass that test because it's a temptation on another level that we as women, we don't necessarily deal with it that way.
Right. I'm saying that, like, okay, so you were going along about, okay, then Shannon, whatever, and then the $100 million check, and then and then they start to digging but I'm just saying that, do they start to dig? Or is it us that they start to dig? Do they dig with everyone? Because it sure as hell don't seem that way to me. Like when you said they start to dig, that's where I think you get people saying, oh, they trying to take a black man down. You know what I mean? Because that digging doesn't seem to exist for everyone
unless it's of some sort of there's something at stake.
There's always some digging for us.
Yes, they're gonna dig on us 10 times harder than the rest. Absolutely.
And I think that's where you get the comments when people
knowing this, shouldn't that we got to govern ourselves accordingly, because that's the way it is. You want to play in that game, you got to understand the rules of the game. Unfortunately, that's how it is. So knowing that, with that knowledge, because what happens is, brother get too big and you think that it's all about money, but in actuality, here in the United States, you ain't gonna get the color of your skin ain't gonna change. I don't care how much money you have. So that's what is going to play a role. So you have to really have that knowledge yourself. You got to understand. I don't care what, Jay-Z told us. So more money, no, still a nigga. And it's so true. And the minute we forget it, they're gonna remind us.
Yeah,
we're gonna get reminded from our own people, and then from them. They're gonna remind you. Didn't y'all listen to that Jay-Z song? Black nigga, dog nigga, still nigga. Didn't you hear that?
Yeah.
What did he tell you?
But I always talk about Godfather Harlem. There's like the first episode. Do you watch the show Godfather Harlem, Jon?
I heard it's great. I'm gonna start watching it.
Great show. So anywho, you got Bumpy Johnson, you got, the drug lords of Harlem back in the day.
Yes.
And, he takes all, Lenox Terrace, he's taking in, guests, and people are just coming with neighborhoods, right? Here, this is, our problem on this street, whatever. This woman comes to him, she's like, my son is sick, he has this disease. And, he's like, I'll get you in a minute. You know what? He looks fine to me. She was like, it's going to get him killed. And she said, basically, he's in love with a white woman. That was a sickness that he had. It's going to get him killed. It's going to be the death of him. You know what I'm saying? And he knows this. He's fucking with these white women. And as a black mother, she was just saying, like, can you please help me? Can you do something? And that's how we as black women look at our brothers. Be like, damn, you already know the pitfalls that are ahead of you. You already know the bear traps that are in front of you. Why is that temptation so much bigger? When she can't even bring you home. You know what I mean? And treat you as the same. Like, that's the part that we just don't really understand. So when you see a Shannon Sharpe fall in the bear trap, we like, damn, and it goes on and on and on. So not to say I'm out and I'm like, damn, he's, with that white woman. I'm shaking my head. Yes, I am. But not to your face. But no, it's more so like, damn, like, when you get to that new level, is that really your mirror? Like, is that really your mirror? And then when you see people in media, you get what I'm saying? Like, what's his name? Who's with Megan right now? Majors, Jonathan Majors.
Mm-hmm.
When you see him, I mean, we're just starting to see like a little bit of a pattern with black men in media. When you see the Shannon Sharpe, like you see some of these things, it's like on the hands of white woman. So you want to, we kind of feel like
Say it again, Shatara.
like a white woman. So we just start to, we do see it like, damn, like, well, you should have known better. Like,
You should have known better. Well, let's ask John. How do you feel about interracial the dating?
Yo, I've
How
dated
you feel about them white women?
Yo, I've dated so many white women, but let me say this. Wait a minute.
Back on.
Let me say this before y'all stop the podcast.
Well, we love you. We good. We love you. We good.
I just be listening. I say, I just listen.
Yo, you's about to fake freeze.
My computer shut down. No. We don't do that here.
Like,
Yeah.
we're done.
Close the link.
You just pretend that the internet stopped working. Nigga hear a dog in the background.
Do a Khloe Kardashian.
Like, why is there a dog in the background walking around though? No. Here's the thing. Here's why I'm a little more sympathetic.
Here we go.
No, because
Because I love
when I started, I was on the hood circuit. I was a god on the hood circuit, right? If you checked my social media, my phone book, my dating, back then I was with Shakai back then for years. But all the women that I dated across the country, 100% black. 100%. Now I'm down at the Comedy Cellar. So there's like 150 people.
Yeah, fix your face.
150 people a show, 3 shows a night. But I think every once in a while, first of all, there's got to be a black woman there who's not on a date. She's also got to be someone that I'm attracted to. And it's probably 96% of these crowds are white. So there's rarely any black women there that I'm attracted to. And also, they also not have to be on a date. So all of my DMs, all the people that I interact with, so then you find yourself on more dates with white women. I don't think that every time you see a black guy with a white woman, he's like, all black women, everybody's not one of them people. I fucking love black women. And that's all I dated. When every night that I went out, all the clubs that I was hosting, all the clubs that I was in, it's all black women, 100%. My phone book, my dating habits, everything resembled my environment.
However.
You know what I mean? I know. However, now I'm down in the West Village and yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you.
On some eyes wide shut shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Coming for me. He said they coming for me.
Yo, they be calling me. I know
when in Rome.
Wow.
But I do know that oftentimes it feels like a slap in the face, or it feels like black men are only looking for, but I don't know. Sometimes, there's places that you work for long stretches of time. The Shannon situation, because of, the level of success that he's had too, sometimes you just end up in white spaces. You know what I mean? It's not like you have anything, or if you had your druthers, I bet I actually told a friend of mine, Paris, one time that I was dating so many white women. And I'm not even joking, I consciously said, I'm thinking about moving to Atlanta so that I can be
immersed
in a pool of black women. That way I could at least still go about my business, be working in the best. And Paris was like, man, you killing it here. You can't be going someplace where you can't get on stage. You're not in the best club. You can't be running from your success, essentially, John. You know what I mean? She said, yo, you could try to find maybe some dating apps or something like that. But she said, I wouldn't advise that, and the problem with dating apps is anybody who knows me knows I'm a worker. So I'm on stage at least 5 times a night. And on my night off, those are the only nights, and then I'm working like 14, 16 hours a day on the tech startup. So now I gotta, on my off days, go on a bunch of dates. Like,
so only white women understand that about you?
What do you mean?
What the fuck? I'm just saying, like all of that, and you didn't get that. That's all I heard. That's all I heard. It was like it's about me.
Yo, I
And it's
poured my
me.
heart out, and she just said,
Yo, I'm looking at you, Shatara, and I'm like, I see the question over your forehead. Like,
And you know what I'm saying? And they're the only ones that get me.
yeah.
all of that.
But with that being said, the last two women that I dated, both were black.
So brings me to my point. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, no, I'm just like, you know I love you, John. No, I had a really good. Oh, so this is my question for you. Now that I don't even know how we even got over here, but if you were to pull us like a black celebrity, right? Whether she's from the past, like who would be your ideal? Like that's a black woman. Like I'm a fan. Like I love her. Like who is it?
Megan.
Which one? The Stallion?
No.
Megan Good.
He's talking about a white girl again.
Megan John. Megan the Stallion is bad, but Megan Good.
Megan Good.
Megan Good. That's your ideal.
I've been a Megan Good groupie for a long time now.
Okay.
She's got her followers, and I mean,
that's
undeniably a sister.
So much so that one night, and I don't know if this is true, but my boys, I believe she was in this bar down the street in Brooklyn.
He was a ghost.
Oh, Sean, he got you on the story. He got you. Sean, stay with a story now. Go ahead.
Did some real groupie shit and got dressed and ran down there, and they was like, "Oh, she just left." I know. Y'all ran down there. Yeah, I was like, oh, but I've been a Megan Good groupie for a long time.
Oh, I love that. That's okay.
I like it.
Celebrity crush. Yeah.
That's okay.
I just think it's very interesting when because I love to hear black men's perspective on dating white women and what brings them to that. So honestly, what I got from you, John, is just locality. It's just the proximity.
But you're originally from,
even though you're in Brooklyn. But okay,
John is in Brooklyn, right? But where you're originally from?
Denver.
So the Rockies over there.
The place where they started the Ku Klux Klan. Duh.
What do we think?
Man. Well, okay.
We don't believe you need more people, and then you gave it.
I love Denver, by the way, though. I do. I love Denver. Like I will go there and I'll just hike by myself and be the black girl lost in the woods.
Well, John ain't gonna come find you.
I guess not. They put out the APB and they said black female. He's like, oh, not my season. when it's my season, maybe so.
When in Rome, and I'm not there.
I'm not in Rome.
I'm not that black guy.
You told us that already.
I'm not
it. No soulmate on my face.
I got it.
No, this is
like I don't see color.
No, I totally see color.
Okay.
No. This is jokes. But no, I appreciate that you can, tell us that and be very transparent, because even with a lot of your comedy, like you're very transparent. You talk about, rehab, drinking, like you just talked about women, what you're really around. You give a lot of yourself. And that is pretty much what it takes, I would say, to be a great comedian.
I love that.
Because that's what the people want. They want a piece of who you really are. Like, okay, we get that you're funny.
Right.
People get a little nosy with comedy. You know what I mean? Who are you? What kind of mattress do you sleep on?
Yeah.
Can I ask one more question?
They want something to take home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't mean to bring us back into.
She's like, can I ask one more question?
With Diddy, but I just wanted to know, because I was reading about 50 Cent, who was basically saying he gonna make a phone call to Trump to make sure that Diddy don't get pardoned.
Diddy doesn't get pardoned?
Yes, he said. Well, he didn't necessarily say that, but he said, I want to tell Trump about all the bad things. So it sounds like Diddy had some information that he wanted to send. So, in my circles, we were talking, everybody was looking at 50 like a snitch. Like, oh, he's a snitch. He's going to do that. Going to bring down that whole bring down a black man. But John, have you heard about that little piece, that little media piece?
I saw the exchange the other day when someone asked him what he think about pardoning Diddy.
Went about to 50 Cent.
Asked Trump that.
Oh, asked Trump. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that 50 should stay out of it. But I personally think that pardoning, should he be found guilty, sends a dangerous. Oh
It's all good.
no, sends a dangerous message. You know what I mean?
You want to take that? You good?
No, yeah, I'm gonna text her and let her know.
Okay.
Um,
Sends a dangerous message. What do you mean with the idea of pardoning Diddy, or
I think the idea of pardoning someone that we have all seen
oh,
put their hands on a woman, and then you hear stories, that's how. I think that sends a dangerous, dangerous message.
I agree with you, and
I,
I think more it was just Trump with his lip service and just
yeah,
you
I
know
think that would not be a good idea. You
just
know what I mean?
talking.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You start
Hmm.
pardoning folks who just like those folks was beating on those cops. Some of those cops died. That sends a dangerous message. You're telling
Hmm.
these white boys they above the law.
Oof, ciao.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's
And
pardoning.
we just had to witness that. And
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and they better be careful. Because if any of them motherfuckers in the next 4 years do something crazy, that blood is on your hands.
Yep.
Hmm. It'll
You
come
know.
back somehow.
So yeah, I don't. You if you went all the way through the court system and whatever, it's going to be what it's going to be. But I think that would send a dangerous message.
Yeah. I think he's already sending dangerous messages by pardoning those who he's already pardoned, like the
Yes,
insurrection people. They're getting pardoned.
yes.
He's doing like you said, the police, the pardoning. I don't care that you let off, somebody in Snoop Dogg's camp who's an executive. I don't care about that. Like that doesn't make me feel like you balanced out the score. And I feel like that's what he's doing to some
Oh,
extent.
absolutely.
And I'm just like, no, and because if somebody's wrong, they're wrong.
Yeah.
I get, the woman who's a mother and she's wrongfully in prison. I can take a story. Thank you for that. But anything outside of that, you over here carteling and
Yeah.
drugging you're wrong. You're wrong.
And not only that, I get it if you have been, let's say, because a lot of those old drug cases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe
Mhm.
somebody got 30 years for selling some weed, and you like, you know what? This shit ain't even illegal no more. And you've been in
Yep.
prison for
Yeah.
20
Then I
years.
understand that. Yes.
I
Mhm.
totally get that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But some of these folks been in jail for an hour
Yeah. Right. You.
and then showed up to Mar-a-Lago with the check where it was $1 million a plate dinner.
Oh
And now
yeah, that
they
dinner.
kid is, yeah, you heard about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, come on,
He
man.
said it has nothing to do with the White House. That was my own dinner. That was my own dinner. Selling my cryptocurrency. I'm just selling my cryptocurrency.
Yo, and that is the type of shit that is maddening to black men. When you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When,
Yeah.
when we get hemmed up is and that's when you start hearing the comments about, oh man, they just trying to take another black man. Cause you know what I mean? Because they wouldn't do it to them.
Yep.
Not for this shit.
No, he's gangster. He's a true cowboy. Our president is a true yippee ki yay cowboy, and
True,
I think cowboy don't even encompass it. We
true
go,
white
he's gangster.
supremacists.
yeah,
Huh?
and we can go
True
through a
white
whole nother
supremacists.
conversation
Yeah.
Yeah.
what he
He's
is.
he's a little gangster, but yeah, when somebody's wrong, they're wrong. So I don't want to hear that. You storm the Capitol, you kill somebody, and you're coming home. That part.
Wait a minute. First order of business.
Oh yeah.
Is to
Oh wait.
Not his last order of business, first order of business.
And don't,
I don't know how much more white supremacists you get than that.
and don't
This
forget.
just that's just sending the message. These laws ain't for us.
mm-mm.
These is for y'all.
Yeah.
These are
Exactly.
for you black folks and you Latinos.
No. The best is when he said he doesn't want to call it New Mexico no more. That was the first on his to-do list when he
What
came
did
in
he
with his
say we
pen.
gonna
He was
call?
like, "You didn't see Biden. You didn't see Biden
Uh,
sign on his first day of work." That's exactly when he sat down and he came right in there.
right
Okay,
out
The
right out
Gulf
the
of
gate.
America or something.
Right out the gate.
right, the Gulf of America, and then he goes, and I want you all to get the fuck out. By the way,
Yeah.
okay, what was?
Mhm.
So yeah, his priorities. He letting you know that this right here. He's like, this is what I can do, and so I'm doing it.
Fired a 4-star lifetime service military general
Oh yeah,
and replaced him with a weekend Fox News host.
because he liked the way he looked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What?
How much, how much more Ku Klux Klan shit could you do? Because the Klan, a lot of times people, I was an Afro history major with an emphasis in poverty. So I studied this stuff for like 2 years straight, the Middle Passage and everything. But I remember that, a lot of this, people have this notion in their head that the Klan was about terrorizing Black people. And nothing could be further from the truth. The Klan was about checking uppity niggas.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get too far ahead. You know what I mean? So that's why you get rid of the general. That's why you get rid of the department heads that are Black. That's why you
Burn down.
despise Kamala Harris. You didn't beat her. You hate her. How dare you even step into this arena? You know what I mean? That's what it's about. And you Latinos got to go. All y'all get out. Black folks, we gonna make sure you ain't the president of Harvard. You're not the president of the United States. You're not no more 4-star generals. It's all DEI. You have no business in these top tier positions. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about putting you motherfuckers back in your place.
Make America great again.
Yes, putting you back in your place.
Yeah, that's all.
This Klan action, the Klan was about getting rid of the uppity niggas. This is as Ku Klux Klan shit as we've seen. It's dressed up in a different mask.
Exactly.
Under the guise of, he's a businessman. He's going to help the economy. You motherfuckers is worse off than you was the day you walked in there. No problem with it though.
No, he's putting together a show. He's still an entertainment.
Very true. And I think, it's, if we're looking for the white covering and the whole Ku Klux Klan outfit, like, you got to be joking. Like, they have evolved just like everything else. So
ooh, that's a word. That is a word. Yes,
but the ideology is there. And that's what I said. This is the day and age. It's the truth. So all of it is coming out now. You get to see people's true ideology, because that's what's running the thing. That's what's running it. So yeah, I can smile in your face and I can be nice because I know how to play this game, but already you have a whole set of rules that you're playing with that nobody gets to see. And that's what the Klan is doing. So I totally agree with you, John, because that's what it's about. It's about cutting off the snake at the head. Like, that's what they're doing.
Yes. So, and I always say, it doesn't matter what you do in this country, just who did it. Don't matter what you do in this country. Sexual assault in a bathroom, no problem. 34 felonies, no problem. Just who did it?
Who did it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Let some Black dude be running for office with 34 felonies. 34. Wait a minute, and 2 more cases pending.
Woo. It's so funny. Could you just 34 felonies?
34 felonies found guilty.
I know Ray got 34 felonies, and he ain't never see the light of day. We don't even know. He'll never come out. He'll never be home.
Michael Vick just wanted to fight with the dogs. That's all Michael Vick wanted to do, just fight them dogs. And they sent his ass away. Okay. Yeah. He did his time for fighting some dogs.
But you know what? If he was white, the dogs was trying to fight themselves. He got in between.
You know what I'm saying?
He was saving them. You ain't lying, John.
You know what I mean?
It's terrible.
It's the media lying on him.
You're right.
These are the things that we need to remember. These are the things that we need to remember. Like, don't. Yep.
I always want to know where I stand with folks. And it's just, in closing to everything we're saying, to where the world is at right now, I just like to know where I stand with you. I understand that I come from a history of segregation. I understand that I come from a history of, oppression, and I understand that I'm the outcome of that. I know so many people have really died and sacrificed for me to sit right here in front of my computer where I'm at today. However, a lot of my history, I can't say it's playing itself back. No, it's just more in our face because it's been so much, it's been passive. It's been, people have learned to play nice with us. But I'm also mindful that there are people that still walk amongst me that see my people, the Black people, and they feel as though I should be working for them and not with them. Those people are pretty much powerful today, and they've remained powerful. Folks don't really,
they're losing it though.
Look at me and feel like, you're supposed to really not have a degree, and you're really supposed to really be in the kitchen, or, if you're anything, you are always to be beneath me. And like you said, they feel like they want to put us back in order. And that's really something that always keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
I call that
And
the
the sad
Birmingham. Remember I said, you ever go to Birmingham, Alabama? Those are the nicest people you'll ever talk to. However, I don't even want to look at them trees sometime over there because I don't know what y'all been doing. Y'all have
but
done
the
out here.
sad part about when you said and they play nice with us, and going back to the bus boycotts, right? You know, there's the bus boycotts are a perfect microcosm of playing nice with us,
Mm.
right? Meaning let us get back
Yep.
onto the bus and now we don't have to sit in the back. But why? Why did they play nice with us? Why did they let us back on the bus? That's it. That is the reason. We want your money.
Commerce. The
We have
commerce.
no respect for you. So much
Mhm.
so that Target had all these initiatives, whatever, which they had started rolling back before they announced they were pulling back their
Mhm.
DEI. I talked to a lot of merchants who are now on black. So that process has started rolling back and didn't do anything about the executives, really didn't push the businesses. But what do they want? Our money.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
and here's the sad part.
Bottom line.
Black folks, we speak English. That's what we speak here now. We don't speak American. American is
It's the
this.
dollar. It's the what I say. We live in a capitalistic society, and we.
If we would ever figure that out, game over. If we could ever just wrap our heads around, I'll give you a prime example, a recent example. Look what happened with Elon, the richest man in the world. They ran back into a hole in 30 days. White folks was like, who are you talking to? White folks, excuse me? Oh,
Come
oh,
again?
oh, oh,
Oh,
so
they
you
did a
want
whole smear campaign. He's on drugs.
yes.
You got
You
how
want
many baby mamas?
oh, so you want us to take all these Teslas back. Okay, okay, we got you.
Oh,
And what did he do? Ran his ass out of town. Because
Went
that's
back.
American.
yeah,
Hmm.
Not
that's
this,
American.
not this yelling and screaming and I saw a woman, this broke my heart. I saw a woman complaining about these jobs. She worked for FEMA. They was talking about cutting jobs at FEMA.
Hmm.
How she hated Elon Musk. I'm about to lose my shit. Da, 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 talking about Donald Trump on TikTok. Sitting in a Tesla.
Look at us, both head tilt.
Both y'all heads went this way. But I'm saying, but I'm saying, but I'm saying that has been the problem. We don't understand our. Do you know that next year's prediction is black spending power is going to hit $2.1 trillion dollars.
Trillion.
The dollar circulates in the Asian community for 27 days.
Yes,
Jewish
I know that.
community, 20 days. White community, 17 days. Latino community, 7 days.
How many
Black,
hours?
black
Blacks,
community,
blacks.
just under 6 hours.
Yeah. Ooh, burn a
I
hole in your pocket. Ooh.
mean,
The problem isn't Trump. It ain't all Barack didn't do enough. It ain't Beyonce not doing enough. The problem is you don't have a black owned toothbrush. You
Yes,
don't drink.
absolutely.
You can't name 3 black owned coffees.
Yes.
You buy it every
Every
day.
and
day.
this is true,
Yes.
but nepotism is real. So, in terms of keeping it within, Heinz ketchup, for example, Kraft cheese, some of these things, like, they have really kept it within. They've done a great job. Look at Paris Hilton. Yeah, they've done a great job keeping it within. Like, they've done it even with the educational system. They've done a great job. So they have had a great head start. Before I knock us in any way, they've had a great head start in terms of just they
Yes.
use people as a form of money. You know what I'm saying? They had free labor for how long? Can you imagine free labor for hundreds of years? Oh my God.
So
Free
I
labor.
I want to so I think this is a good time to segue into the black businesses because it sounds like this is where we're going. But I wanted to because this is Shatara and I, we talk about this all the time. Black businesses and how the community has to galvanize in order to support, but we don't have a game plan. We don't have, and I want to be careful when I say we, because us as a community, our game plan is scattered, and that's a part of what is our legacy, what has been left here for people who have been colonized, oppressed, still with a slave mentality. So this is what we're left with. But there has to be an ideology shift that, and I've come to the realization that it ain't gonna be everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to be all W.B. Du Bois. I used to, between was it Du Bois and what's the peanut farmer?
Booker T. Washington.
Booker T, right? So they had two different ideologies on how to uplift the race. And it was a time when I used to be like,
the top 10,
the top, cream of the crop has to rise. And then the other part is like, the bootstraps. I'm sort of in the middle now when it comes to this, because there's an ideological shift that needs to happen amongst us, and it's not going to happen with all of us. But the few and the some, that's where we need to focus our efforts. So I don't know how you look at that, John, being a tech person in the tech space, but when it comes to building businesses, especially in the tech space, and the barriers that come with it, not from just the outside, but within us, in our communities, the barriers that are in place. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, in terms of the first two, the Booker T debate, the talented 10th, I believe that, I know this is going to sound odd, that we have achieved that, and I don't believe that it trickles down. And I say that because Black women are the most educated demographic in this country,
I
right?
agree.
So what did that do for us? I believe that it's a holistic approach, but again, I believe that the one characteristic that defines how your community is doing is the circulation rate. All of these other things have been shiny objects, and they keep us pointing at those shiny objects. Why do you think that they let the people who lead the marches and do the yelling and screaming survive? Who are the people they kill? Follow the money. Martin Luther King, at the end of his run, said that all of the work he had done, and I'll send you guys this video, all the work he had done, all the legislation they had passed, this is not my words. Martin said this. He said failed. He said it did not do anything for the average, he said, Negro back then. He's on, as a matter of fact, he says this in public. He's sitting on the Tonight Show with Harry Belafonte. He's essentially saying, I was wrong. Malcolm was right.
Right.
He was saying Marcus Garvey was right. This is Martin Luther King on national television saying, He said, I feel like I have led my people, I think he said, into a burning building. He was wrong. He said that. Martin on his way out was like, made a mistake. It's the money. And then he dies.
Yeah.
That's what all of the Panthers were talking about. What were they talking about? The circulation of the dollar.
Yeah.
What was the Nation of Islam talking about? The circulation of the dollar. What is BLAP? If Martin were alive today, he would say, follow that guy. That's our path out. So they rather us go out, yell, scream, march, shut the store down, shut the store down, right? Let them, and you know what they sitting there thinking at Target? Let them let off some steam.
It'll blow over.
They'll be back.
They'll be back.
They'll be back. Exactly.
Every time you watch someone who speaks American, you get results. You know what I mean? Elon took the money and got the influence with his money. Speaking American
Sure
to
did.
Trump.
Went all the way to the White House.
All the way to the White House. And then
African.
Yes. And then gets pissed, and then people get pissed off at him, start taking them goddamn Teslas back, stop buying them in Europe, ran that motherfucker back into a hole in 30 days. It doesn't take long. If Black folks said, you know what, for the next 2 months, instead of just yelling, we're going to boycott Target, we're going to boycott Walmart. And this is where we're going. Now they're listening. Now, fuck around and say something to disrespect Black folks and see how fast your ass is out the door.
They lost a lot of money.
Galvanize. We
lost a lot of money.
We would never have to worry about being disrespected. They would respect us the same way they respect our Jewish brothers and sisters. Say something and we will lop your goddamn head off because I cannot afford to lose this shop.
Yes. To what you're saying. If racism costed them, So it's that part. So they can take care of, the laws for the Asians have been made. Don't you talk about no Asian. The laws for, people who are in the Jewish community have been made. You know this already. They just can't seem to get this. Oh, they've even took care of transgenders have, everybody has their pronouns. They're taking care of all this, right? But you just can't seem to take care of this strong, mighty force called racism. And it is because they don't have to pay for it. If we were suing the way, Miss Menkowitz was suing, if we were, writing and taking tabs, and you're gonna pay for that. You're gonna pay for that. I bet you, if let's say your credit score dropped below a certain number, let's say you had to pay for that. Let's say that shit was illegal. Let's say it was illegal. This is, follow me here. I'm making this shit up as I go, but it sounds good. Let's say if your credit score dropped below 500, that shit is considered illegal after 2024. Right? Let's say it's illegal, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be put on probation, and then you could potentially get locked up. Let's say that's just the world we live in. Do you know how many motherfuckers would have a perfect credit score if that shit was illegal? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself. I would be shitting bricks. I'd be like, let me tell you something. My score is 490. I'm trying to get it back.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to get locked up. I would have a different, you know what I'm saying? When things are just like when you have a ticket, and if I drive by that police officer and I'm driving dirty, I might, have my shit taken away. When it's costing you your freedom, you get what I'm saying? Your freedoms, you play the game a little differently, right?
I'll be honest with you. I think even more than your freedoms, these people care about their money.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think
their money is their freedom.
Right. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So if you were to take that away, you get what I'm saying? If you had to pay for it, like you said, a fine that would then lead to, incarceration, these motherfuckers would have been talk about play nice. Oh, because the reason why they've got away with knucking if you bucking for so many years way after is because so what? Right. It don't cost me. I still got my house. So what?
No, I mean, I think they look at the community like, we like shiny things, so we get distracted, and we, everything for us is a distraction. So it's very easy to distract us. I was listening to this rapper, and he was talking about how it's a rapper, but he has a black owned business. He has a juice bar. So he bought a $500,000 Rolls Royce. Sound like he bought it for cash. He said, my juice store is about 7 minutes from the Rolls Royce dealership. So he said, I bought the car. He said, I stunned it for about 2 weeks. It took about 2 weeks for everybody to know I had this car. I stunned it, blah, blah, blah. He said, do you think anybody from that Rolls Royce dealership came to my shop and bought a smoothie in that period of time? Of course not.
When is the last time you seen a white family, father, son, kids, daughter, running around a soul food joint?
I've seen a few coming by, Patty.
We let these folks post up in the hood, and then we send their kids to college.
Yep.
All these goddamn liquor stores, Chinese, and then be wondering why our nephew or niece can't afford to go. Look at what you're wearing.
Absolutely.
You are wearing. Do you know that black wealth is predicted to go to zero by 2053?
Ooh, I didn't know that.
2053. Zero.
And why? Because we're consumers. Is that? Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's because we are uber consumers. But we consume too much.
Well, I don't think it's too much. It's where we spend our money.
Where we spend.
We just need to redirect it. You know what I mean? And it's not like, this isn't like something that takes place every 4 years. You can redirect your money tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
We could get the car out of the ditch by Friday. If everybody said, you know what? This dude is right. You know what? I'm going to get some black-owned toilet paper, coffee. I'm going to get a black-owned toothbrush, toothpaste. And I always start with those things because I have black-owned toilet paper. I have a black-owned toothbrush, all of which I got on my app. You know what those things do? I have black-owned shower gel that I use every day. I ran earlier, use black-owned shower gel. But you know what that stuff does? It reminds me to expand from there. It's doable.
And it's here. Yes. So I totally agree with you. And I think that it's a conscious thing. I remember watching Killer Mike. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where he tried to just buy black.
He was on a bike. He went to get batteries, a light bulb, got a Walkman. He didn't make it too far.
It was a little difficult. It was a little
He
difficult.
went to a farm just to eat. He had beans out of a can. Like he did try, but like you said, after 6 hours, our money doesn't stay in our community. It goes out within, a short amount of time. But he did try it, and it wasn't the easiest. But the effort he put in, I admire that.
Yeah.
Because he did promote a lot of
Now,
black business.
I do. My endeavor is always to black first. But I will say this, and I think I'm not alone here.
Oh
The
shoot!
one thing that they have over us a lot of times is the level of customer service.
Well,
And
I think that now I'm going to push back on that because
okay,
I do believe that we experience horrible customer service in so many places and we just brush it off. Again, it doesn't matter what you do, who did it.
mm-hmm.
Go and order some Chinese food. They will, first of all, they put up some glass. They're not talking to your ass. They will throw the money at you. Nobody got a problem with it.
Mm.
Let a black woman talk to you the same way that they do in a goddamn Asian. What? What? Or at the liquor store. Can you imagine? But other places, we just, you walk into some white establishment, oh, it just be busy in here. No. Sometimes it take you forever to get a table, but you so happy to be up in that
Oh
little
no,
restaurant.
yeah, I don't. I'm not having it. I'm very selective, and I'm big on customer service, especially because I know what it is to give it. I've worked in retail. You know what I mean. I'm a big tipper. I love so when I don't receive it, I don't care. I'm very on the hold on a minute, wait a minute now, because I'm mindful of where I'm spending my dollar. So it can be as easy as like, oh no, I won't be coming back here no more. My
But
nail
this,
lady got rude with me. Guess what? Her competitor's right across the street.
yeah,
So you don't got to tell me twice. You get what
right.
I'm saying? And I'll
That's
let her
what I'm
know.
saying. And I'm saying, how many black
Yeah.
women sit there and don't say nothing
Oh
about
no.
that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm not having that. Mm-mm.
Somehow that's not a problem.
this is true.
But when we do it, oh my God, black customer service. I go into black places, establishments, obviously all the time now. There are black owners that sit down with me, don't know that I own black. Black folks, when they are nice, are over the top nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
let me get you some extra.
yes.
Did you get some
We're
ketchup?
great. We're great.
Right.
Yeah,
But I'm
we're
saying
great.
it's almost like the myth of the black father. You know the truth of the matter. You can check this on Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
Black fathers, um, if you actually look at the data, spend more time with their children than white fathers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is that is what
yeah.
statistics say. As of
Yes.
2024.
But
Yep.
I bet you if you did real analysis of customer service in black versus white or Asian restaurants, if you actually looked at the real data, you'd be like, you know what, them black places are kind of nice. You know what I mean? The Asian people treated me like shit. The white folks treated me like shit. But
Yeah.
that's not the narrative
Yeah,
Oh.
that
yeah, yeah.
we keep spewing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just let some people get away with it.
Sometimes, I will say you make a good point to some of these restaurants, like you said, the Asian, he not giving no conversation, he's rude, so on. But for the most part, when it comes to black owned businesses and putting in an effort to support black owned businesses, I'm putting in my effort to let you know I'm supporting. Like I went to a restaurant recently, black owned over here. I want to say Edgewater. Moral of the story is that first week out, I wasn't crazy about the food. But you know what the owner did? He came over, he said, I heard you guys were crazy about this and that. We just want to get better. And we let them know we're not coming to Yelp. We just here to support. We are proud of you. This is nice. Keep that going. We will be back. Oh man, so good to hear that. Just to, be very clear. I'm not gonna be yelping and going off. No, this is dope what you got going on here. So it's that part of, ethnicity that you have to bring to really wanting to support your brother and sister. If you don't really have that, then that's really who are you?
The other thing too is when I talk to a lot of my friends in other communities, they are constantly laughing and joking about bad service, this, that, the other. And then there's a but. And their but is, but we gotta support this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like this, that, the other, but you know what? Come on, where else I'm gonna go? Where else I'm gonna spend my money? Which is
Yeah.
why all of their circulation rates are far higher. Now there are some structural problems. For example, we don't own a lot of grocery stores,
Mm-hmm.
gas stations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that as well. Or maybe we don't own as many property wise. We don't own as much that goes into a mortgage that you're
Mm-hmm.
actually paying yourself. So that counts as a circulation of dollar. There are some
Okay.
structural things, but $2.1 trillion.
That's crazy.
Oh, and the average person spends just around 2% of their income on Black-owned businesses, which means there's a lot of room for growth.
Absolutely.
And it ain't all grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of clothing, a lot
Yeah.
of lawyers,
Yeah.
doctors, babysitters, dog walkers, people to come and do work on your house. All of that. If we tightened all that up, what if we got up to 4 days, 5 days?
Right.
God forbid we get to 9 days. Now the ball's rolling downhill, and all of this nonsense would come to a grinding halt once they realize,
They
they
don't
don't
need us.
get out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, now the disrespect would come to a grinding halt.
Yeah.
You better be speaking correctly to them, or they will not spend with you.
Yeah. The
And a
word
lot of them are very, very rich. Why? Because the circulation is going up.
I'm saying, yeah. Disrespect. The key word is respect. They don't really respect us. They
Because
see,
we don't respect
you just
ourselves.
wanted, you just wanted a Cadillac, and that's why I threw that to you. You know the whole story
Yes.
with all that.
And
So
you didn't even buy it at a Black dealership.
yeah, stuff like that. Right. So, we've come a long way. We have a long way to go, which brings me to our woke. If you can just tell us about this app that you have, Mr. Comedian turn, what do you want to call yourself here?
Tech founder.
Tech founder. I want you to say it yourself. What you say now? A tech founder?
Tech founder.
Tell us about Blap.
Blap is an e-commerce app for Black-owned businesses. So Blap is the new Black Amazon.
Oof.
You can buy everything from
I love it.
toilet paper to liquor by the end of the month on Blap. There's probably around 60 businesses now. By Juneteenth, there'll be a few hundred. My interns started this morning. So they start populating the app 8 a.m. on Thursday. So, beauty products, hair care, skin care, books, art. Yes, that's it. Just like look like TikTok shop,
I
don't it?
got it.
Look like TikTok shop, don't it?
I got my Blap. Yep.
Yes. But again, go on there and find something that you like. Do you see anything on there that you like, Shatara?
Oh yeah. So I'm looking at places to go, cocktails, and I'm also looking at restaurants. So quite a few restaurants came up in the area that I was in at the time. It was Elmwood Park, going through like Paramus,
I didn't
and
even
all the
mention.
restaurants came up.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that. So Black also has like
Okay.
no other app on earth. There's 50,000 Black-owned businesses. So it'll figure out wherever you're sitting in the world and then put the Black-owned businesses on a Google map. But right now, like I said, the Black Amazon portion is what we're populating because that's what people said they wanted. They wanted to be able to buy, add something to a cart. And that's what we would, we do 16, 17 hours a day to make the experience easy because people are willing to help, but they're not willing to go out of their way. And when's the last time somebody had 50,000 Black-owned businesses in the palm of their hand?
Wow.
Isn't
That's
that great?
amazing. I'm getting it. Yeah, this is like, it's just what I wanted because just even searching for Black owned, like trying to be intentional and searching for Black owned products and services, that's a whole thing with it in and of itself, And what I notice is like, I'll put a search and I'll say, I want Black owned turkey burger spot, and you got some imposters that'll show up because
Yes.
it's not, they may have a woman at the forefront, or they may it's oh well, I'm seeing I don't see Black faces here, so they're utilizing the tag to be found in Google, but it might not necessarily be a Black owned business.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that because recognizing that what we did on Blap was we added a flagging feature. So if you see
I
something,
saw that.
yeah. So if you see something, and there's nobody better at letting us know when something is not Black owned than people. Black folks will let your ass know. So, with the quickness.
Tell. It's
Yeah.
the telling
Yeah.
button. You can
Yeah.
tell.
It's the tattletale button. Yeah.
Yep.
You can tell on there. So we added a flagging feature in the app where you can just flag a business. And sometimes it's not even because it's not Black owned. It may have moved, it may have closed. You know what I mean? Sometimes just so that the next person doesn't make the mistake of going there, we added a flag.
Let me just I just want to share, just a couple of days ago, I said I wanted some barbecue. So I wanted a Black owned barbecue smoker, right? So I put the search in black owned. Okay, I found it. It said it's open to 9 o'clock. It's like 7:30. I get in my car, drive all the way out there. What must have happened was a brother who put up his little smoker outside of of the electric company, but his smoker wasn't there no more. When I tell you I had a dead end, I was so mad because I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have some barbecue on a," and he had a picture of it and everything on Google. Man,
That's good
I pull
promotion.
up. It was like the water company, the front. So he must have at one time put his smoker outside the gate. It was
Yeah.
closed up and everything.
Oh,
I was so mad. I was, I was
unforgettable.
mad too, right?
And we added that flagging feature just for that reason, so that you could just be like, "Ooh."
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That
it's
would have
not
been,
official.
girl, when I tell you I was in my car, I was like, ah,
Mm,
damn, damn, damn,
that's funny.
damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, John.
Okay.
So we're gonna check you out on Black. Everybody can get the app. I have it. Black
Absolutely.
owned businesses, as well as checking you out at the seller. Anywhere else we can check you because we want to get you to your jam.
No, that's it. You know what? Tomorrow, but I don't even think this won't matter because it won't be out soon enough. I'm putting on a founders, funders, and front page tomorrow, essentially for investors for Black.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
And where
media.
will that be? So you be able to, where would that be seen?
It's a big meetup because we are trying to figure out,
Oh wow.
the best. One of the biggest problems of the stuff that we were talking about is access to capital. So it's just a meetup tomorrow for access. To I'm trying to close out this friends and family round.
How about
So
to say I saw your friends and family round, but you need people to come in with the bucks, not
yes,
nobody,
yes.
not. I got $4,000. You like
You know what's so funny is, yeah, you have to be accredited investor, but I do have people who have, you can't put in $40. It's not it's not a publicly
like
held
you
company.
trade?
Yeah, but you do have to, yeah, $10,000 is the low end. Most people are in between 25 and 50, but as long as you're not coming with like $600.
All right, good to know. I'll hold on to my little money then. Forget you. Anyway. Simple. That's done. Let me get out of my Bank of America app real quick. I'll transfer you a little Zelle here. All right.
So you sit there, I'll be deleting that app.
Uh-huh.
Like,
I'll be
you don't
headed
want
back.
my little money anyway.
I'll be headed back to Target tomorrow.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, yeah. Um, so I'm glad to know what my limit is, but you know what? I'm gonna claim it. I'm gonna be a big investor. I'm just gonna put that out
Absolutely.
there. Okay. Because I don't preconceive, anything on the low end.
Yo,
Yeah.
we are looking for the last of these investors before we close out this friends and family round. Get your coins together. Call your
Okay.
boy. Yeah.
That's dope. I would love to
I
be an
love
investor.
it.
I would love.
Mhm.
And what's your jam? What is your jam? Thank you, John.
My jam is Fuck the Police by NWA.
Oh, you
Hold
took
up.
it
Hold up.
there.
Hold up. Wait a minute. So
Oh,
we had to go back. Now this is from 1988.
Telling
Am I
my
right?
age. Telling my age out here.
This is 1988. So this was
that was
MC.
when Big Daddy Kane was big. Was 88. I remember that. But fuck the police. So I'm surprised, John, that you did not. All the Brooklyn greats. Well, you say you're from Colorado. I get it. Okay,
Was there a
Yeah.
Colorado great?
that
Yeah.
that's
I'm
okay.
from,
That makes sense.
I'm from Denver. Yeah.
Fuck the police.
Just like Compton is another one of my jams by DJ Quick. But you know what? I think that music kind of broke the mold for rap. Because once they came out with that, it was almost like you could say anything after that. There was no putting the toothpaste back in the tube after them.
This is very true, especially when they were talking about police brutality. Like that's
Yes.
essentially that was what the song was about.
Yes.
And I remember thinking like, I guess at that time, because well, I'm a particular age, I remember it, but I was like, man, is it that bad? Was it that bad? Because this was Rodney King. It was around the time Rodney King, or was it right before Rodney King? Because I think Rodney King, that had happened.
Yeah, it was
Don't give me the
before.
telling. It was
Yeah, it was
before,
before. Yeah.
but and I believe they were showing scenes around that, and I was like, wow, is it really like that out here?
Yeah.
For brothers, I didn't know they were sort of like shedding a light on that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people didn't know. I mean, because we were driving, we had, out west, you drive so much more. But yeah, I mean, I actually made during lockdown, a thing called the Jon Laster challenge. So I would just have my friends send in a 1-minute clip about a bad interaction that they had with the cops. It ended up, the New York Times ended up mentioning it.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Wow.
it went super viral.
Let me just say your song, Fuck the Police. It says the song prompted the FBI to write to NWA's record company about the lyrics, expressing disapproval and arguing that the song misrepresented police. That's how impactful that song was. It caught the FBI.
Look,
Yeah, and then the FBI was like, "Hey, watch your mouth."
Crazy.
Look, not after
right?
they had the Rodney King clip in their video, they wouldn't having something to say, but they did. But they did because they didn't have to pay for none of it.
Wow.
Crazy song. All right, that's a jam.
That was a jam. Whew, boy. Yeah, I remember that.
Remember the explicit on the album covers? You remember that?
Yeah.
That's all my age.
Yeah, we still use it. We use it on our podcast. We have to.
Explicit. I mean, back I'm
Explicit
talking
free.
vinyls, like back when it was vinyls and recorders, you know, the cassette tapes, and they had the big explicit on it. Oh man.
Ooh, fuck the police. Ooh.
Yeah. But they, you know, wow. All right, makes sense. Black, fuck the police. John, it's been great.
Yo, it was great kicking it with y'all.
This was
I love
dope.
it. I love it. And I'm so thankful and grateful and just to have you here and speaking about, you know, I love when people could wear many hats. You know, I think we talk about ourselves like we mix, we multi, we, you know, faceted, but you as well. And I'm just appreciative. This is why I love Black men.
Yeah. Okay. Yo, I'm a comedian, a tech founder, and a
shit.
Oh man, eyes wide shut. Eyes wide shut over there.
And a superhero. And a superhero.
After the party, there's the after party. Oh no!
Jesus. The Black.
Oh, I thought it was a guy.
I thought it was it's Mr. Black. Mr. Black.
Black man. Black man.
Oh, this was good. This was good.
This Black man.
Black man. We come to the end, y'all. So you can subscribe to That's What I'm Saying, the podcast. Listen on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube. And watch That's What I'm Saying weekdays, Island TV. Follow us on Instagram at TwistPod. And also, if you have questions for the Weekend D Report, you want to advertise with us, you can email That's What I'm Saying at Gmail or DM us on TwistPod. If you want to keep up to date on all my upcoming comedy shows, because you know I bring the funny, I try to keep you all updated with that as well, because you know I like to act up. So this is it. As always, we appreciate y'all. Thank you, John. Thank you, my sister. Until next time, stay healthy, stay well.
Peace, y'all.